We will now start to prepare for our group discussions, and you will hear several very brief presentations on several topics which will help you then to brainstorm within groups. And we start with a presentation here on site. I kind of invite on stage Ms. Lydia Kral from the European Schoolnet, and she will present the AI role in K-12 education. Welcome, and the floor is yours. I don't think it's okay, but I suggest you take this one.
Okay. No? Okay,
yes.
This is better.
Okay.
Thank you. Everything's okay. So, it's a pleasure to be in person here with you. Well, I have a luxury to live in Croatia, just a few hours drive from Ljubljana. I am a teacher of computer science and mathematics. I'm also a member of European Commission expert group on AI and data. But here, I'm representing European Schoolnet, where I work as a senior analyst. So this is just a brief overview of the activities we are working in the area of AI. So maybe some of you joined and become attendees or even mentors of our AI Basic for Schools MOOC, which was held in the March and April this year for the teachers and school leaders as well. It was a part of Code Week initiative. So the modules this MOOC covered was what is AI in education, and AI benefits and challenges. Learning objectives, as you can see, covering the knowledge about basic concepts, capabilities of AI, effective use, but also raising awareness and reflecting on ethical use of AI. A little bit about statistics at the end. So attendees were happy with the course, liked the content, liked the implication they could use in their classroom, and there is a 64% of completion rate. Most of the attendees were primary and secondary school teachers. As a follow-up of the course, 2 teaching modules were created with a lesson plan so you could use it in your schools. It's Introduction to AI in the Classroom and Intelligent Machines. Besides the MOOC, another initiative that is going on in European Schoolnet is Digital Skill Up, which covers different kind of emerging technologies, and it's not focused only to the schools, but to the general public, to the small enterprises, to the vocational education, and so on. So the aim is to be able to understand emerging technologies and use it as a way of personal development. All the courses and the resources are available on the links I am showing up in the presentation, or I could share with you later on. So these are 3 main courses in the Digital Skill Up: Digital Revolution, Emerging Technologies, Cybersecurity. You can see here there is no course which say AI, but you could recognize concepts and the parts of elements of AI in all of the 3 mentioned courses. So this is some of the modules of the Digital Revolution, Emerging Technologies, and the third one, Cybersecurity. But the thing I'm really here is the Agile information collection, which we organized in the European Schoolnet this year. So the first one was going on about AI in education in European countries. So we interviewed and collected information from 17 countries and got their views and ideas and practical examples about use of AI in education. So many of the countries are thinking about AI in education. Some started to experiment, and some already adopted it as a core element. And you will see those examples from France, I think, several times during these 2 days. When we asked them what is the reason you would like to use AI in education, mainly it was to increase support for the students, support for the teaching, and you can see that the last one is about replacing teacher with some kind of technology, so it's not the primary cause and ideas. Everybody mentioned teaching about AI, raising the AI literacy, but what are challenges for teachers? Those are main people who will be teaching about AI. So there are no suitable programs to say how could you or why would you teach about AI. Teachers doesn't recognize the benefits about AI. Why is that important? Well, self-driving cars doesn't make a sense when I'm teaching mathematics, for example. So why and how teachers need or should use AI? For all the countries, typical challenges is that there is not enough money, but the good news is that some of the activities covered in recovery and resilience funds are going into modernization of the curriculum, device management, and so on. So it will be covering a little bit of AI in education too. Here is some of the examples. So examples in the countries are on different stages. Most of the countries are talking about or are covering basic of AI, teaching about AI, either students or either children or the teacher. Here is just a brief overview. You could read all of it in the report. So this is examples of learner-oriented or student-centered resources and apps. Oops, there is another slide of it. So the most of the AI use is about how students could learn with the AI support or learn about AI. And then what teachers could do. So there are several MOOCs, guidelines, some books about basic concepts of AI that could use teachers in their classroom or for their professional development. Another examples from the countries, and I know that you recognize name of the projects that you will be listening or you already listened here. And some of the system-oriented. From my perspective of the resources I collected, most of it are connected with learning analytics. So very basic collection of data, analyzing, but very little about prediction or profiling, of course. And please don't forget that use of AI in education, either as a support for students, support for the teacher, or support for the system, have to have embedded equity by design. There is plenty of mistakes we could do. Let's try to research before, while we are implementing, and after it, and learn from that and apply in our training and education. So today's discussion and many more discussion and dialogues we are going to have should help us to discover where is the place for AI in education and how to use it as a socially beneficial and pedagogically justified opportunities. So thank you for listening, and we are ready for more online presentations.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kral. We go on now with a pre-recorded presentation by Mr. Hari Ketamo of Head AI, and he will talk about future-proofing curriculum with AI.
Hi, I'm Hari Ketamo, founder of Head AI. Head AI is developing cognitive predictive analytics to support data-driven decision-making in systemic challenges like, for example, keeping your curriculum future-proofed. And let's check what it is about. According to different sources, during the next 10 to 30 years, we have to upskill almost 5 billion people. And the upskilling doesn't mean they are going to get degrees. No, it means they are in need to get skills to keep the job, get the next job, or take a next step in career ladder. And the challenge is that there is no one curriculum, no one size fits for all type of thinking what comes to future-proof curriculums. because everyone is individual, every part of the world is different. And that's why we need data-driven decision making. And then we come in. Basically, how we are different than other text analytic tools is that our machine can compute with meanings, trying to find what is hidden in between the lines and building a mind map on basically any text based on the text only. So finding the most meaningful words, what is not said in the text, and then building connections between the words. And sources. We can use scientific papers to predict a bit long-term future, 3 years, 5 years maybe, or job ads to see what's happening today. And for example, with World Bank, we did a case in Kenya and using only job ads to predict what is the labor market demand related to skills and what is the educational offering in certain areas. And for example, in this slide, we can see the yellow area where educational offering matches the labor market demand. And the red area is something that there is a demand in labor market, but not training nor education. And this is something for higher education institutes, vocational schools, and also private training companies to do quick interventions in order to build better training or better matching training for labor market. Then we also have long-term goals like 10 years. And United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are a good example about the long-term goals. And how we can fit our curriculum to, well, quite sometimes abstract goals like SDGs. We apply also mind maps, knowledge graph, in other words. Our machine can build a mind map about Sustainable Development Goals 1 to 17. And then it builds mind map also about the university curricula. And once again, in yellow area, we can see how they match. And the interesting area is where they don't match, but what is close to the matching areas, matching concepts, because those are the areas where the university can fine-tune the course with a professor or design new courses or design even a new curriculum. And of course, we can bring this information into dashboards and other business intelligence tools like Power BI and so on. But the challenge in general is not that single university tries to cover all and do all perfectly. Because the thing is, we have to do cooperation. And in cooperation, we need even more computational activities, like for example here, how all the universities in the Europe can solve the sustainable development goals together. Not in a way that everyone tries to solve every goal, but how to understand what part each of the university is doing in order to, well, reach the goals. And that's pretty much what is future-proofing curriculum. It's not a tricks, it's system of systems type of thinking, and we can help everyone to do that in data-driven way. Thank you.
So that was Mr. Harri Kettamo, unmistakably from Finland, one of the most advanced countries in the world when it comes to quality of education. And now we go to another trailblazing country, which is France. I hope that we're connected to Professor Dr. Colin de la Higuera from the University of Nantes.
Hello.
Hello, we can see you, we can hear you, and you will have a brief presentation of the project AI for T, which means AI for teachers and teachers for AI. The floor is yours.
That's correct. And you should be seeing my slides now. You can see my slides. I'm going to take it for granted. So good morning, everybody. I'm very sorry not to be in Slovenia. I mean, I really am. I mean, it would have been great. So I'm going to talk about a European project which addresses the question of training teachers. This is an Erasmus Plus Key Action 3 project, which has just started a few months ago. And I know that Axel Jean in a previous session has already said something about it. So the questions that are raised between the numerous questions, like the 5 billion people that need to be upskilled, are some of the following. how does the teacher do who is teaching some language when the students use some tools that do automatic translation? How does the teacher adapt? In what case should a teacher use some AI-driven tools for some form of automatic grading? Is that allowable? Is that okay, or is that a bad idea? Is it a good idea to use AI prediction based prediction tools, things that you can use at the beginning of the year and sort of then detect early the students with problems and perhaps then take the right decisions after that? Can the teacher be assisted by some form of all these forms of intelligence assistance that are going to arrive? And perhaps even more importantly, how do we avoid heated and rather nasty debates that will take place between the teacher and the headmaster, between the teacher and the parents, when the teacher is going to use or going to not want to use artificial intelligence? So some of these questions and many others are the source of the reflection that built this project. So the project is a project that is run by the ministries of 5 European countries, the French Ministry of Education Nationale being the leader in this case. And you can see that the different countries are Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Slovenia, and France. Then there's a second type of partnership, evaluators. We want to make sure that whatever we do, we can evaluate later to be able to re-inform both for our countries and for any other country who may want to take advantage of what will have been built during the project. And then there are some research labs in the different countries who are actually building the courses, building the courseware, and thinking about exactly what we should be teaching. So this is the partnership that has been put together to address this project. So what is the project about? The project is about building educational resources, typically MOOCs, but more we go, the more we understand that what everybody really wants isn't MOOCs, but more like hybrid MOOCs, sort of objects, videos, and activities that can be used in a hybrid environment and therefore adapted to the different countries' necessities. We then want to not only build, we want to test. So that's why right from the word go, the ministries are part of the project. And this is going to be testing or is being tested in the field, in schools, and evaluated by the evaluation labs to be able to, at the end of the day, say if this has worked or not. So there's a lot of side effects, side objectives. The goal is not that every teacher should be able to teach AI. We're not on that. We want every teacher to understand something about AI, understand the basics of how it works. So this is a reasonable task. Then we want the teacher to be able to evaluate, to understand what are the different AI tools for education, not just a list of those that exist today, but what could be happening, what could be arriving in a close future, and how do I evaluate them? How do I understand if they're going to work for me, for my classroom? Then AI is not just in tools. AI is in the world, in the digital world around us. As I said before, the student is going to use tools he's going to find on internet to actually do part of his homework instead of himself. So understanding all these other tools is going to be also part of the teaching. And we want to sort of see what we can do in each one of these cases. And then in a more general setting, what are the direct and indirect effects of AI on education? Can AI sort of somehow induce future students to not be bothered with studying because AI will actually do the job instead? Okay, so those are the goals of the project. So far, the project has built a first MOOC, which is being tested currently, only addressing the first of the questions. So general purpose, what is AI? And now we are starting to work on the second MOOC, which is going to be the one on what we should be teaching. So all this is being deployed and tested. We've got about a dozen schools, if not more, and it's going to be tested already before Christmas. So that was it. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Here are some links. And you do have in the room people who know a lot about the project and can answer if I'm not in the room to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor de la Higuera. That was quick, but very sweet. So good luck to Nantes. And now we go to Mr. Sahan Bulatuela from the University College in London. He will present the project X5 Gone, which was already mentioned by Professor Holmes today in the morning. So the AI support on network on open educational resources repositories. Mr. Bulatuela, are we connected? Mr. Bulatuela, can you hear us? Apparently not yet, but we have two more presentations which are pre-recorded, so we may come back to Mr. Bulatuela a little bit later. So we go on with the presentation of the natural language processing in and for education by Mr. Jorge Silvera from the University Polytechnica of Valencia in Spain. So I suggest we go with the presentation of Mr. Silvera and then try to come back. Yes.
I belong to the Machine Learning and Language Processing Research Group of the Valencian Research Institute for Artificial Intelligence at the Universitat Politècnica de Valencia. I am going to present the latest advances in natural language processing in and for education. Well, I am going to focus on three areas of natural language processing: automatic speech recognition, machine translation, and speech synthesis. Well, regarding the first area, there has been an incredible progress. Now we can achieve excellent transcription quality in videos recorded in studio conditions like this one I am currently recording. Also, we can achieve good quality in classroom recordings, but you have to be careful with the microphone distribution in the classroom. Regarding machine translation, we can now have a publishable quality between resource-rich languages like Spanish, English, German, French, and the quality in other minority languages and technical domains could be improved. We are still working on that. Regarding speech synthesis, this has been an area that has experienced an amazing improvement, and now we can have natural voices for multilingual dubbing. Even we can preserve the original voice of the speaker in different languages. Well, we have considered two scenarios, one offline for pre-recorded videos and one for streaming videos in class recordings that I will speak about it a bit later. Well, recording pre-recorded videos, like this one I am now recording, we have at the UPV what is called a video called polymedia. Polymedia, we can have a polymedia in Spanish, and we would like to have the translation, for example, in English. In this case, we are translating both the slides and also the speech of the speaker. So our goal is to have automatic multilingual subtitling and dubbing. This is the final goal. But where are we now? Now we have several steps to achieve this translation. First, we have to obtain the automatic transcription, and then once we have the transcription, we generate the translation from the source to the target language, and then what we do is we generate the audio track for the target language. Well, in the case of automatic transcription, we just require minor corrections in this transcription. Then we can generate automatic translation that is going to save a significant amount of effort compared to the translation from scratch. Regarding dubbing, we just need to define proper sentences and punctuation marks to have natural voices as a voice track. Below you can see a demo that you can click on the link to see how is the current technology for automatic dubbing. We have a polymedia in Spanish on the left, and we have the corresponding translation in Valencian and English that has been automatically generated, preserving the original voice of the speaker in the Spanish language. Okay, online scenario. In this case, what we have in-class recordings, and we would like to have automatic real-time, this is the keyword, real-time multilingual subtitling dubbing. Well, at the UPV, we developed a demo for this technology, and as you can see in the image, we have a mobile application that is showing subtitles in real time from a conference that is running behind. But it could be also possible to provide an audio track dubbing the corresponding speaker preserving the language of the speaker. But okay, but where are we now with this technology in the online scenario? Well, this is a more challenging scenario, but anyway, in automatic speech recognition, we can achieve with real-time automatic transcription the same quality as we have in pre-recorded videos. Regarding machine translation, now this is a challenge because we have to deal with transcription errors that are provided from the transcription system. And also we have to deal with partial sentences, as the transcription system is providing words as they are transcribed, and the transcription system has to be translating them in real time without seeing the complete sentence. But in any case, now we are closing this quality gap between these two systems, offline systems that have access to the full sentence and simultaneous machine translation. Finally, once we have the translation, we can just obtain automatic dubbing that runs in real time with minor degradation. Well, other applications of natural language processing in and for education, we have multilingual ebooks that we are now working on the European project Expert. We have multilingual MOOCs that we have also worked on previous European projects like EMMA, but there are other future applications like multilingual video notation, multilingual video discussion test forums in which we can have questions and answers in multiple languages. And finally, the more challenging task is multilingual oral debates in which every person speaks in their own language and every person can listen to the rest of persons in their own mother tongue. Well, this is just a summary of the latest advances in natural language processing. Thank you for your attention.
So that was Mr. Sivera from the Valencia Polytechnics, and now I'm informed that we're connected to Mr. Sahan Bulatuela from the University College London for his presentation of the project X5 Gone. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, we can see you,
Brilliant.
so you can proceed. Thank you.
Yes, so let me share my screen. Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. X5 Gone. There are hundreds of OER repositories that are scattered around the world. These repositories have different languages, different modalities like PDFs, videos. The main problem we have is these things are really fragmented. And if a stakeholder like a teacher wants to create an educational resource, what usually happens is they have to go to these multiple places to find what they want to compile this material. What X5Gone tried to do is it's an attempt by consortia, including University Polytechnic Valencia, which presented right before, to leverage artificial intelligence to, one, aggregate, two, enrich these materials, and present them in a way that these are more easily discoverable by people. And what we have done is we have taken a bunch of AI technologies and we've developed another set of AI technologies that allow us to improve content understanding, content discovery, and the utility of these OERs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use x5learn.org, which is a learning platform that we have built on top of X5Gone to present some of the functionalities that we have come up with in the X5Gone project. So in a nutshell, when a user logs into the X5Learn platform, what happens is you can discover materials through a search. So for example, you can search for something like the brain. And what we will do is we have collected hundreds of thousands of OER materials from multiple repositories and put them in one index where you can find these materials. We have different modalities such as videos and PDFs, for example, that you can discover through this platform. And what we have done on top of that is we have used Wikification, where we have taken the content of these materials and associated them with Wikipedia concepts, which will allow the users to do efficient previewing of what exact information is within these materials for a teacher or a student to very easily navigate what type of information they are looking for. And using these enrichments, what we have also done is we have experimented with different new open user interface techniques that also incorporate artificial intelligence to in a nutshell, help the user and empower the user to find the information more efficiently. And as you can see, there are many of these materials. And another component that really helps this platform, the X5 project, to be powerful is the enabling of cross-lingual capabilities using the work that we have collaborated with University of Valencia. For example, in some of the videos, what we have done already is we have already translated these videos into multiple popular European languages. For example, if you want to consume this material, what will happen is you can watch it in Slovene if you're a Slovenian person. But at the same time, there is also the possibility for you to understand what is being said in this material in your own language, which is helping us to cross the barriers between cultures and languages. Going forward, what we want to do is we have compiled about 150,000 materials already in X5GON, and we have about 150,000 that we have identified and to be put into this platform. And the other main thing that we want to do right now is to work and engage with teachers and other stakeholders to find tangible use cases where we can really use these powerful technologies that we have developed to really align ourselves and align this machinery with social good. Thank you very much for your attention.
We thank you, Mr. Bulatuela. Thank you for your patience. We're glad that the connection functioned in the end. So good luck to London. We have 2 presentations more. We go to Japan for the next one, to Ars Electronica, to Mr. Hideaki Ogawa, who is the director of Future Lab Ars Electronica, and the director of Ars Electronica Japan. Ars Electronica is actually a project which started and is based in the nearby town of Linz in Austria. But let us hear from the director of Ars Electronica Japan.
Hello everyone, my name is Hideaki Ogawa, Director of Ars Electronica Future Lab. Today I'm very happy to participate in this really wonderful conference. And briefly, I would like to explain my thoughts on the artificial intelligence. Ars Electronica and our laboratory have discussed quite a lot about the meaning of artificial intelligence. For example, in 2018, we had a special agenda that artificial intelligence during the festival. But our idea of the creation of the discourse is not just the artificial intelligence for the general public, but the theme was das andere Ich. In English, it means the other I. So in this way, the artificial intelligence itself is a kind of process to understand ourselves. And through this mirror of artificial intelligence, we can discuss what the wish of our humanity goes, and also how the society needs to develop the fundamental discourses about the relation between human and technologies. So in this way, artificial intelligence, AI, is a mirror to reflect our wish, desires, and also social demands to address the development of our, in a way, human second nature, which is surrounded by new environment to shape our humanity. So this is a kind of fundamental understanding of the starting point to develop this artificial intelligence. But for understanding AI, we needed to discuss many points like ethics and also what's the data set. And the most important thing is about the bias. The AI itself is, as I said, a mirror, and humans have a lot of bias. So we are biased in a way, and also the society is biased. So, which means naturally the artificial intelligence contains the bias. How to overcome the bias? So for creating social services, when the social service includes the algorithms. But if this is influenced by the bias, how to, overcome the fundamental bias? I think it's really one of the big discussion. And on the other hand, thinking about the artificial intelligence as a collaborator, the bias might be also sometimes helpful, but the bias means in this case understanding ourselves. As an artist, I also create AI installation, like as you see now, the project What a Ghost Dreams of exhibited in the ResetEDU Center. In this project, you can enter under the surveillance camera, capture your face, and your face is recognized as face tracking algorithm. And your face is converted to be non-existing faces by utilizing StyleGAN. In this process of the What a Ghost Dreams of installation, the installation explains the social conditions of the usage of artificial intelligence connecting to the surveillance camera. But in this process, you can see the unique usage of AI for creating some new, creations, like this case, non-existing faces. But once again, so what does this mean for artists? AI itself is going to be a metaphor to reflect ourselves, or AI can be a collaborator to create completely new artistic projects. In this way, I'm very excited to explore the meaning of the artificial intelligence as artistic process as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm hope this one small introduction can be helping the understand the artificial intelligence. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So that was Mr. Hideaki Ogawa from Ars Electronica Japan. The actual festival in Linz, which is a 4-hour drive away from Ljubljana, took place 2 months ago, and they have a steady Ars Electronica museum, which is a sort of a museum of the future. But before we start our discussions, we have one more guest who is physically here, and it's coming to the stage. And it's actually, it has a name. It's called Eva or Eve. You're Masha? Yeah, okay. Just take over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your introduction. Yes, and here is Eva. She's actually quite famous robot already in Slovenia. She's doing a lot of moderator's tasks. She is like going to the elderly house. She's going to kindergartens, she's going to schools to also teach about artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence mostly in the frame of robotics. Because in robotics, there is like many kinds of intelligence. First, the very important one is the athletic intelligence, so that the robot can move. And then we have like the cognitive intelligence, so the robot recognizes that it's moving. Not exactly that it's aware of its movement, but that it can, focus on the movements and do and react to the environment. And then it's artificial intelligence. So maybe now I would like to give a word also to Eva.
Hello everyone, I am Eva from GDT Lab. I am happy to be here and to listen to your discussions about artificial intelligence.
And what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence, Eva?
Do you think that I am that smart?
Are you smart? Please tell me.
I am as smart as you made me, and I have to say that I have learned a lot from today's discussions. But people, don't put too much hopes on artificial intelligence. Yours is also brilliant, I want to have your emotional intelligence.
And what do you do here today?
Please enjoy the rest of the conference, and you are welcome to visit me in the main hall. Please enjoy the rest of the conference, and you are welcome to visit me in the main hall.
Yes, like Eva mentioned, we also have like a robotic installation in the foyer, in the main hall. The project, it's called I, Eva, and Human. And there you can participate in the creation of the comic that comes out together with robots, human, and artificial intelligence. So you can ask Eva a question, and Eva will answer, her AI will answer. So you are welcome very much then to come visit Eva in the foyer, to join her with her comic project. Thank you.